Good morning, dear students. Thank you very much for joining me in today's session. My name is Hameed Asghar, and on behalf of Institute of Freelancing, I welcome you all. Today's session is a very productive session for all of those students who are from graphics and fashion design and interior design institute, as Jojo is related courses karna chahte hain. So let's proceed to our standard procedure. The things you remember before you create the logos. Of course, we all understand the logos has to get printed, correct? So as those all has to get printed, so quite obvious that uh, we have to make them according to the standards. Standards means that the output should be equivalent to printable conditions, means once we are working in Photoshop, probably 300 pixels, yeah, 300 dpi, that would become a basic standard for all those. So how can you do this? Let's start creating our first instance, our first logo. So from the file menu, we have to create a new document, and any size of either the standard should be pixels, maybe inches. जिसका भी size आप रखना चाहते हैं. Let's suppose we are interested in this shape 8 inches by 6 inches, but this time we are not practicing. We are in fact trying to create something for the high resolution, which has to get printed. So that has to be 300 pixels per inch. So let's create a document, and remember this. Whenever you create document, that has to be a very high resolution size. This is somewhere 89.3%, but in fact, this document is about 33%, means जो भी चीज इसके ऊपर create की जाएगी, that will be a lot more bigger. So the first shape we are trying to create with the help of rectangle. So rectangle, as I showed you, it can be absolute square, it can be something like this, it can be in any of the shape. And mind you, and remember this always, you being creative designers, this is all your mindset, that what type of creative thing which you want to be as the logo for any of your client or for any of yourself. Then it comes to the second thing you have to remember is that we are working into Photoshop. So we always have to create all those segments and all those pieces of the logos in different layers, so that once you submit your logo for the approval to your client or to anyone, there should be a margin of changing, there should be a margin of redoing or iterations and all those type of things which can be asked by your client. I usually work on Upwork as well as on the Fiverr, on different international freelancing marketplaces, where it is 100% confirmed that people used to ask for multiple options like colors changes, like text changes, and things like this. So let's start our first logo, and you can create with a square. Let me create a new layer first, and let me show you something like this. If you want, this square has to be absolute square, so just clicking इसको drag करें, and while pressing the shift key of the keyboard, that will make it absolute this shape, right? So that is the shape we are interested in. Now, the second thing which I want, let's suppose we want to fill in some color into this shape, and that has to be filled. First, selecting the color, and that is the selection of the color can be from this, might be something like this color, a light green color, and we have to fill that colors with the paint bucket tool into this. Then sky is the limits. Whatever you want, this shape has to be modified. That is something which you can do. So there could be anything. So for example, let me show you something I'm interested in. I just want the piece of this logo has to be cut from this shape, and that has to be tilted toward the downside. That is just my idea. So before doing that, what I'll do is that I'll create the duplicate of this layer. So as I showed you earlier, there are multiple options of duplicating this. First is the right click on this layer, and here is the duplicate layer. Second, click and drag and place on the new layer, and that will create another layer, right? So that हमारे पास the first layer should be available, and then there's a copy of this that is available, which is ready to accept any type of change into this. So how can you make that type of shape that is cutted from into this shape and then tilted towards a little bit downside? And that is something which you can do it very easily. So here is the second tool which we have selected, is the Polygon lasso tool, and that will give you a kind of uh, style like this. That is something we have selected. Now we have to select the appropriate layer, and which is quite obvious. We have to select the layer number one, the copy of this, and we have to cut this from this layer. So from the edit menu, let's cut this, and from the edit menu, let's paste this again. So here is with the move tool, we have to bring it somewhere like here, and that's it. That can be here, that can be absolute like this. And with the help of up and down arrow key, you can make 1-2 steps right side and 1-2 step down side. And further, if you want this has to be tilted towards the downside, very simple. Let's go to this edit, and from the free toss form, you can make it something like this. Let's press OK, and let's make it from this to this. That is yet another option. But as we are doing all those with the same image, that is not recommended. It's good. It's a very good option that you keep on doing this. Sana Amir, I requested this earlier. So let me do this again. Layer number one, we have to make copy of this. And how can you do it? Pretty simple. We have to duplicate this layer. Okay. So this is something I hope you understand. Now we have to select these two layers with the help of Shift key. These two layers has been selected, right? So you can bring it here. You can bring it something like down there. Then we have to make selected both the layers. We have to make duplicate of this layer, and the sorry, we have unfortunately we have deleted this duplicate layers is here. Okay, and press OK, and here are the two more copies of these two layers. So that means we have to bring it somewhere here. Okay, so with now what we can do, other thing is, okay, we can cut the almost the same shape from this top area also. That is yet another very good option, but I would like to repeat that again as some of you asked. So let me click right click and duplicate layers, and that's how you can make a duplicate. Let's bring that also somewhere here, and now we are going to do something more different than that than we have already done. So this time I'm going to make a circle, okay, inside this, and we make something more different. So for example, let me select this time instead of square, let me select a circle and place a circle somewhere either absolute into the center of this, maybe to this corner, something like this. And let's do the same again. We have to select the appropriate layer. So what we can do is first delete this. That is one option. Let me undo this because we are not interested in this. Let's bring this selection into the center of this. So how can you do this? From the top tools, from the top menu, from the select menu, select the transform this selection. So here is the selection, and you have to transform this. So let's bring this exactly into the center, and then what you can do is press mark OK with the help of enter, and you can do it simply delete, and that is how you can do it. Very simple, right? Let me control plus D selection has done its work. So now we have to do it. We have to select any brand, any name, anything which you want that can be placed here. For example, let me put in some typographics, but before doing that, I've selected the T. T stands for the text. Let me select different type of text, maybe something like reddish and something like this, and we have to click here, and maybe you can say that's the logo of your company and your company name is A and B, right? And select whatever the text that is there, and you have to choose the appropriate fonts. So I just want that has to be some kind of stylish font, and choice is yours. You can go for any type of fonts which you are interested in. So select whatever that is your liking. So for example, that's what I was looking for, or maybe some more stylish. So that is something I believe is more okay. Let me press mark OK, and that's how we can place the text in between this. And then with the transformation, you can make it smaller as well as bigger. Further, you can just simply select the text again and change the size from 48 to 72 and maybe even bigger. How can you do it? Pretty simple. Let's select this 72 and press 100 and press enter, and this mark the done, right? So let's bring that text somewhere into the center, and that's how your creative things in fact starts. This was the first experiment which I just wanted to share with you, that how can you do this with any type of thing. You can mix and merge two different shapes. You can mix and merge even three different shapes. In this instance, we square and the triangle, right? That is something we did. And in this example, we did square with the circle, square, circle with the typographics. This is with the square and triangle, and this is something which we want, and that has to be our next option. So in this case, I just want this text or any of the text which you want, that again has to be duplicated, and I want that text to be here. So let's right click and duplicate this layer. Okay, press OK, and here is the second layer, and this has to bring up from this. So that's how it will be visible. But I assume if the color has to be more towards the yellowish, I believe that would be more visible. That's okay. And you can make it dark, but I think this vibrant color would definitely work, right? And then you can make a little bit shadow underside this with the right click and blending options. From here, you can just place a drop shadow on it, and let me press OK. Now I want this triangle or this box, this cutted portion has to be into a separate color, maybe the same color, which is this, and that has to be like that color. So first and foremost, with the eyedropper tool, we have to select the appropriate color. So here into the toolbox, from the eyedropper tool, we have to select this color. Keep in mind that right now the selected color is red. We did this right now. As soon as I click here, the selected text has been changed from red to yellow. Now we have to place this yellow color on this tab now. So right click on this and select the appropriate layer first, and that is this one. The other option is, okay, let's make it visible and invisible to make it show that this is the layer which we are interested. So now how come you can do this? Pretty simple. The most simplest option is to control and click on this layer. and that is the selection. With the paint bucket tool, place the text inside, place the color inside. That's how you get that, right? So let me show you some other way also. Let me Control plus D deselect, and with the basic default option. The other way is, let's select this layer and let's lock the transparency. Means whatever that is transparent into this layer will be locked on this layer. Remaining portion is this that will be placed color. So with the help of Alt plus backspace, that means fill the foreground color. That's the color which I want. With the help of shortcut key Alt plus backspace, the color has to be placed. Now this is all up to you. If you are not interested in this and your client says no, this doesn't seem good, let's change this color from this to maybe something more vibrant and something like this, and then you can just select the color, and or just transparency has all been locked. Means whatever the area that is transparent, that's been locked, and the remaining area will accept this color. So the shortcut key of set foreground color would be Alt plus backspace, and that's how you can place any type of thing on this shape, right? So let me show you another option. Let me give you another option with the help of square, and then we will move from square to the circles, and then to the triangles, and then to the polygonal shapes. So let me create another document from this new, and this time from the inches. Let me say 8 by 6 size with the 300 resolution, and maybe we can say 7 by 5, because I just want that size has to be changed always. So to give you more and more crystal idea that you have to select the appropriate types. So let me create a new layer first as a standard, so that कि हम जब भी कोई नई shape create करें, whatever the shape we are trying to create, that has to be in appropriate layers, in its own layer, in fact, right? So this time I'm going to create a circle. So with the help of a circle, what you can do, let me try to something like this. And as I showed you, as I told you, as I taught you in the previous classes, previous instances, that as soon as you select any of the tool, remember the properties panel of this has to be upside, correct? So let me show you, add to the selection, subtract to the selection, and intersect with the selection. So what we can do is, let me try to create another shape with absolute the same, sorry, with the help of shift. Let me try. And what would happen now? The interesting thing would happen now, that the intersection shape will be remaining and all other shape will be wiped out. Sorry, I made a mistake. This was in fact has to be selected. So let me try this, and that's the intersection shape that is right now marked, right? So I hope it makes sense, because I told you already that how can you do this. So with the help of properties panel, you can create new shape, you can add to this selection, you can subtract from this selection anything, and you can intersect means there are two shapes means from the two shapes, the only the middle part or the intersection part will be visible, and remaining will be wiped out. So in this instance, this is something which I did, right? So something like this, and here is the shape we have created. I'm pretty sure कि आपको basically idea हो गया होगा that what I'm trying to create, right? So we have selected this time. Let me try this color and press OK, and we can fill this shape into this shape. We have already selected the appropriate layer. with the control plus D. Now we have first shape, and we can duplicate this layer, and we want the three copies of this. So now we have three copies. The first layer has to be tilted towards this side, and the second would be towards this side. So let me control plus T transform and bring the center of the selection to this level, and let me try something like this. Press OK, and we have to make this a little bit up. Now we have to select the other shape, and with the control plus T is the shortcut key. Bring this somewhere here, and we are going to transform this to absolute to this shape. And I assume with this shape, you can very easily determine that how would it looks like. If you think that is okay, all set, you can just forward this to your client as an Photoshop layered PSD file, and we can do each and everything. Now, choice is yours. If you want all to be into different shapes, let's select all of these with the help of Shift key. Select the first, Shift key, press the Shift key on the keyboard and select all, right click and duplicate layers. And here is with the three more shapes. And you see, this is in one shape, this is a separate shape. So that's the first example, right? Let me make them invisible because we want the color has to be changed on this. So very simple. As you have to select the lock transparency of every layer and simply select the color. And this time I'm going to change the color to this. Here we selection of this. Alt plus backspace. With the help of Alt plus backspace, and select all the layers in Alt plus backspace, and pretty simple, you can create any type of shape with the help of, that was a kind of with the help of circles, we have created something like this. So choice is yours. If you wanted to create something like this, that is all up to you. And if you wanted to merge two shapes, that means triangle and circle, that would be again up to you, right? So how can you do it? Let me make it all of them visible. Let me create a new layer, and let me start creating first the absolute circle. So that's the circle again into almost the center, and we have to fill in this time color only into this circle, right? I'm not interested कि हम इसकी inside fill करें, but I just want that has to be outline of this selection area that has to be filled. So from this file menu, from the edit, here is the stroke, right? That is the fill, right? Fill say whatever the color which you are interested, but this time from the edit to stroke. Stroke means that the only the selection of this area will be filled with this color. So let me say black color, and let me say okay, and control plus D means deselect, and that's how you can create circle. Now with the help of any other shape, maybe something like this. Let me try this, and from here into the center, and let's me, here are the two shapes, right? And we have to create, remember always, into new layer, and we have to fill again with the help of edit and stroke. This time I'm going to change the width from 2 to maybe 10, and we press OK. Now that is the more crystal clear, visibility will be more clear. So choice is yours. If you are interested to erase the inner parts from this circle, and maybe what you can create, what you can do is that half of them will be wipe out, outer portion will be available, will be visible, and only the inner part would be not visible. So with the help of, with the combinations of these things, you can very easily start creating anything. So let me show you the last option, and that is what was the last shape we discussed? Yes, that was this shape. So how can you create this shape? Remember in the previous instances, we discussed with the help of polygonal tool, but that you can create any shape. You can create hexagonal shape, but remember that would not be accurate. In other words, that needs a lot of practice to make it accurate. So Photoshop gives you a vector art, vector options of the polygonal tools, rectangle tool, rounded rectangle, and the polygonal. As soon as you select this shape, right? So apart from this circle and square and the polygonal, here is the different shapes, polygonal shapes, which are different shapes that are available: straight line, polygonal shapes, and the custom shapes. That is something which you can select from this. And then from the fill menu, you can fill full colors, gradient, pattern, or the default colors. So I'm interested no color, so I've selected this one. And the stroke color means this selection area will be something like this. So let me bring this in the center, and then you can make it absolute straight, and that's how you can simply create. So the outline is already available. You can make it from 2 to 10, and you see the outline has been changed from 10. So that is something you can do it pretty simple. So let me show you some up further options that how can you do the creative work with this option. For example, you have created this one shape, and that's the basic shape. Let me copy this with the help of this, and from the move tool, let's try to create something like absolutely uh, hexagonal shape, but we have to transform this a circle, something like this, and then drag this absolutely with closer to this option, right? And we press enter, and that's how the basic two shapes that we have created. So select both of them. Okay, from the edit menu, free transform. Now both are selected, you can bring this to any shape, and with the help of this thing, you can make it bigger as well as smaller, as well as only two shapes, and maybe with another one copy. Let me select this and duplicate layer, and that's the third copy. Let's bring this here and rotate this from any side, and you can mark this something like this and keep on adding with the help of different shapes. You can very simply create a kind of hexagonal shape. So let's bring it somewhere here, or anything whatever you are interested in, right? So the idea was just to give you more and more options. There is nothing as such difficult. It is just a mind game, right? Whatever that comes into your mind, you can keep on adding, keep on trying different shapes, and that will give you a lot more option. So select this, and from this fill color, from this fill color, instead of this, let me go and select the yellow color fill. Let me select the other option, and fill color is no fill. This time I'm interested in this color. Let me select this polygon, and from the fill menu, let's try to color this one. And that's how the vector shape would allows you to transform from this edit to free transform, and you can make it bigger as much size as you are interested in. So I'm not, in this case, in fact, I'm not interested because this is not as such into my line. So I want these two has to be something like this, correct? So that's it, dear students. That's how you can create any type of, with the help of basic shapes, you can try create different type of logos. So there are multiple other lectures available. With the help of squares, you can create a Facebook logo, and into Photoshop as well as into PowerPoint and into the Illustrator also. So you can just keep on working, keep on doing your best work. I'm pretty sure things will be very soon, will become very easy for you. Thank you very much for joining me in today's session. Hope to speak to you soon again into another creative class. And until then, take very good care of yourself and bye bye.